all information required for the product. You have to find out different resources, different source of information to get the complete idea or a full idea about the product itself. Many times designers think only from one point of view, from the formal or aesthetic and other, as I say, visual point of view. If it's a visual product, if it is three-dimensional, the formal point of view. But I think that has gone, that phase has gone. As I said, even your product looks very beautiful, but it doesn't function. So, and functionality depends on all those factors. That is what we call now recent, what is the experience design. What is experience design? Experience design, which human being goes through all the various influences, various types of influence. That's why I am become a Nagu, or he has become a Pai. He's a Pai not because he got a graduation or something, because he has absorbed a lot of other qualities from the environment. We all are like that. No? So I cannot design something for you taking only one of your character. But I have to see your whole total activity. And then you design something for you. And that is why today the designer is different than earlier designer. People are expecting more from designer. People are expecting more comfortable from designer. People are expecting less mistake-making designs. There are so many sciences and technology available. We should use those technology to make the product more comfortable. And that's why I was telling in my papers how the information technology and all those things are helping for designers. This is your resources to make your design at a higher level of things, activity.
Thank you. No, you have, I think, very well addressed and covered what I was asking for. And again, this brings me to another aspect. Neeraj, again, when you look at Britannia and you look at your products that Britannia sells, again, is your market primarily India? Does it go outside of India? How does what you design for India vis-a-vis designing for the rest of the world? So how is that transition? I'm asking, of course, leading to the whole question of whether industrial design in India will be only for India, or would industrial design in India happen for the globe? Right? Of course, I'm leading towards it, but I thought I'll first relate it to how you see your own markets.
I think this continuum of markets, the morphing of markets is a very valid and important area. And really it can be looked at in two ways. One way is how do, let's say, what is the nexus of designs in India with the world, etc., etc. And that's one aspect, and I'll briefly cover that. One is whatever you design here could potentially have a market internationally, and certainly that is one aspect. But irrespective of whether that is true or not, you certainly will be competing with designs which come from the rest of the world. So you have to have a very strong nexus with the world, whether from the point of view of seizing an opportunity which is there, or whether it is from being better from other things which come from elsewhere. So today it is one global market and you are competing in that market. And therefore your designs have to be able to compete with the best in the world, and at the same time it provides you with the opportunity of going worldwide. So there is certainly a nexus. Different companies may tap this nexus in different ways depending on the structure, but there certainly is a very strong nexus. The other part is that we have to get design moving from a particular unit to design spreading. To take the example, let's say, which you raised in your previous question of design schools and what happens. The question is not what we do in design schools, but how do we take design into engineering schools? How do we take design into management schools? How do we take design into anything and everywhere? So it's not about how do you teach design in design schools. It's about how do you make the process of design elsewhere. It's just the same as how do you make the process of marketing permeate the organization. So I think it's boundaryless, whether it's in the international sense or in the organizational sense.
He's very right to say this, because if Maldonado can sell his product here, why our idlis cannot be sold all over the world? Is how strongly you put your products into the market, how forcefully you put your things into market. You can make idli, Hidalgo or something like that, sell it in all international market. I'm sure 100 of stores and people will buy it, yeah. So I think it is how you put your market, the product into the market, and for that matter, anything, I tell you, even from biscuits to your supari. You can make supari popular all over the world. Why not, yeah? So I think product you be little sensitive about their taste and other things. Maybe Russia, they have a different taste than the Europe, or for that matter, other Islamic countries, they are more different taste than the European countries. So if you are little sensitive in terms of food products, if you are little sensitive, then you can market your product. But you must have this dynamics. You must know the dynamics of the market, and I can tell you, you can sell any product in the world, I tell you.
No, thank you, Professor Nathkarni. Again, I think I'll come back to the FMCG world, and this is a question that I had. Traditionally, we have looked at products maybe in my own compartmentalized way, taste, looks, feel, aesthetics, and so on. But then, given the way our social conscience is evolving, we are starting to grapple with safety in packaging. We are starting to grapple with environment-friendly packaging. We are starting to grapple with the whole concept of recycling and so on, right? And these seem to me that are topics that have to be addressed again across areas. You can't deal with it only from the perspective of packaging design. It would come from the process of manufacturing. It would come from the selection of the material and so on, right? And again, is there a central function that drives this kind of thinking, or is it something that evolves over a period of time so that it becomes part of the process of development and design of products within the company? Again, I'm wondering, does this come from a corporate mandate which says, hey, we need to make sure that everything that we do from now on is recyclable, for example, vis-a-vis something that actually evolves as a conscience within the company itself, saying how do we move towards packaging, how do we move towards design that, if not today, over a period of time, brings up that whole aspect of safety, social responsibility, environment friendliness, recyclability. I'm just wondering how it is dealt with. How have you seen it dealt with across companies in India?
See, there are two things. One is, what should a corporate or an organization demand of design? And second, what should design be capable of delivering? And they're two very different things. Given social consciousness, corporate consciousness, and various other factors, what is demanded out of design could change. Today it could be biodegradable, tomorrow it could be resource constrained, in another day it could be, something which is most indulgent, whatever. So what is demanded out of design can vary and will vary depending on what is relevant in society at a particular point of time. However, having said that, it is important to understand at any point of time, good design will have to deliver on multiple factors. Right? That is without a doubt. What those factors are can be changing in different points of time, and that consciousness is frankly not within the purview of design. That is what design delivers on. But what design is delivering will have to be multifaceted. And the best example of this is design seen in nature. So for example, you look at an egg. What is it delivering on? It is biodegradable, sponsoring life, providing food, stable, etc., etc. So design certainly has to deliver on multiple factors, irrespective of what point of time. In fact, that's what makes design more challenging.
Small point I want to add. I am not talking about his feasibility or not feasible. But I remember earlier when we were young and sort of thing, we used to buy biscuits, go down at Vani shop. The biscuits were there in that glass container. You ask for 2 biscuits or 3 biscuits. Why I am bringing this point? You go to the Kirana shop, I want 100 grams of dal or 200 grams of rice. He takes it from a big bag and he gives in a paper bag or whatever. So I think our consumption patterns were different, and we never required that time this sort of various packaging, extra packaging. Of course, for gross packaging, you need package, a big package. But that is also solved by consumption of the small packages, which are making really a problem for environment. And so I think it is not possible to, at this time, but there was this possibility. We have created our own problems, I tell you, with this environmental thing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Nadkarni. So I would actually like to invite the audience now to possibly raise questions that they have in their minds, either from Neeraj or from Professor Nadkarni, or possibly both.
I have a question for Mr. Chandra. Mr. Chandra, we are taught that the foundation of great designer or a great design is empathy, which might be towards the user who's using a product or the ecosystem which is getting affected by it. But in cases when such a design clashes with the business aspects, like the cost of production or marketing, how do you then resolve such a conflict?
Certainly empathy, and in fact the output of the empathy, which is insight, is a very important part of any designing thing. But as I said, design has to deliver to a multiple set of parameters. And if it is not delivering onto them, it is not delivering. It is like saying you can't have a multi-variable optimization and end up optimizing one variable. So if it's not delivering in multiple aspects, it's not delivered. As simple as that. The solution to deliver onto it can be varied. I mean, that will depend on a case-to-case basis what you need to do to solve the problem. But long and short is multiple variables have to be delivered in a design exercise. Just saying I've delivered on insight and not this thing, you haven't then delivered.
Thank you for that, Neeraj. Anybody else? Yes, please.
I have one question, like nowadays, like sustainable design is going in the market, like, so just I want to ask, just give an example, like Lota. Lota is a very powerful sustainable design, right? So I want to know, like what is exactly sustainable design and how we make the design sustainable? And one more thing, like what are the characteristics of the sustainable design?
May I? Yeah, please. I think sustainability of any product is all influenced by a lot of factors. And the first negative factor of this thing is that industry's approach to bringing out every 6 months new product. For example, you take Apple. Every 6 months you have only got new product with Apple. It's good. But they don't design that there's new technology or new inputs which you are going to give. Can this not be adapted in your own old products? Why you should have a new product? What can I do with the old product? I have to throw it away. And same cycle is happening with many other engineering products, which is not going to happen. I mean, sustainability is good for talking, but I don't think you will get support from industries. But their compulsion is like that. They have to produce every year new products because all their profit and whole strategy is based on this only, finding out a new product so that earlier product become redundant.